This is Robert Kraft, and I'm coming to you live on SNNLive, and we're here at the Source Capital Group 2016 Disruptive Growth and Healthcare Conference in New York City. With me right now is Julian Nikolchev from Cardica. The symbol is CRDC. Julian, welcome to SNNLive.
Thank you, Robert. Nice meeting you.
Okay, so this is your first time on SNNLive, and for our audience, can you tell us a little bit about the company?
Well, Cardica is a company that's focused on commercializing minimally invasive surgical devices, specifically surgical staplers. We manufacture and distribute the smallest articulating surgical staple on the market today. I joined the company recently, about 3 months ago, and I'm really excited about the opportunity to tell you about Cardica.
So what I want to know is, what types of surgery is your device meant for?
So, as many people may know, surgical staplers have been around for a while and a gold standard in many surgical procedures. For example, they are used in cardiothoracic procedures, they're used in abdominal procedures, laparoscopic procedures, and it's one way to make the procedure less invasive and much faster. And surgeons over time have become more and more interested in making their surgical procedures less and less invasive. The reason for that is they see a lot of situations like cancer, for example, at earlier stage. What that means is that when they see an early indication of cancer, they're kind of in a conundrum. What do they do about that? Is it a cancer or not? They don't know. So if they have a way to get into the body in a less invasive way, they can go in and discover, or they can wait and see until it develops. So minimally invasive surgical procedures have become more and more interesting to them. Of all the different surgical tools that are available right now, many of them and most of them work through 5mm trocars, so they have a small hole that you can get into the body. Surgical staplers are the one of the surgical tools that are not available to that size. Currently they require 12mm, almost twice as big a hole. Our device is designed to work through a 5mm trocar, and it also articulates, which makes the access procedure inside the body a lot easier.
Why is that important? Why was there this need to make it so that it would fit into that smaller hole?
So the reason it's important is there's two ways to think about invasiveness of a surgery. One is the hole, if you will, that is required to make into the body to get in, and that's done through a port like a trocar. And the next part is how much tissue dissection the surgeon needs to do to get to the actual surgical site. With a small device, you can make a small port, that's the trocar, and with a smaller device that's also flexible and articulating, you need less tissue dissection to get to the surgical site. And that's what our device offers.
Okay, so you said a couple things that the device is currently used for in different types of surgeries. Can you elaborate on that a little bit more?
Sure. So the specific surgeries where I think our device offers unique clinical advantages are thoracic surgeries. For example, these are in the thoracic cavity. A lot of those surgeries are involved with anatomic resection of the lung, for example, for lung cancer. Other surgeries would be solid organ surgeons, such as liver or kidney. These are organs that have a lot of blood vessels connecting to these organs. And when you want to do the surgery to, for example, find a specific site in those organs to resect it, for example, to look at a lesion like cancer, you want to resect the blood vessels to get to that. And that takes a lot of time. And it also requires you to navigate around the organ. Our devices facilitate that process and make it easier.
And so where's the company currently at in the approval process?
So the company received their first approval for the MicroCap Exchange 30, which is the name of our device, about 2 years ago. It had a limited approval for small intestines and appendectomies. We most recently, about a month ago, we also received an expanded indication by the FDA to include tissue such as vascular tissue for surgeries like general surgery and urology surgery. So this indication now allows us to broaden our footprint in the market. In the meantime, for the last 12 months, we've actually been focused on selling our product in Europe, primarily at key endoscopic surgical centers. and while we were waiting for this expanded indications in the United States.
So then now you're currently in the process of expanding commercialization in the U.S. then?
Correct. So now we are starting our process in a very controlled way. We're going after the large centers where the top KOLs operate with our current device, which is designed for working with the vascular tissue. Our next generation device that's in the pipeline, which will be available in the second half of this year, will actually expand the tissue thickness that we can staple, and that's when we'll start doing the work and a lot more aggressively on the U.S. market.
I also want to know, how big are these markets that you're going after?
So the key markets for us are the thoracic market, which is about 150,000 procedures in the United States, the pediatric market, which is about 50+ thousand procedures in the United States, and also the solid organ surgical, such as liver, pancreas, and kidney, which is about 80,000 procedures. So combined, that represents 280,000 procedures in the U.S. and about $380 million market.
And also, I know you said you're new to the company. What's your background? What drew you into Cardica?
So my background, educationally, I'm a biomedical engineer, but in the last 25 plus years, I've been involved in founding or co-founding several medical device companies. And in those companies, I was involved from inception of the idea and the technology to commercialization. Most recently, my most recent company was a company called Pivot Medical, which I founded about 10 years ago, which developed a proprietary system to treat for hip arthroscopy. It's a minimally invasive hip surgery. And over the years, after we introduced our product, we became the premier brand in that space, and we were acquired by Stryker in early 2014.
So, moving forward, we're in 2016. From what you can tell me, what are some of your goals and milestones for the near term and the long term?
So 2016 is actually an important year for us. Our key milestones can be put into 4 categories. One is to improve our clinical performance of our device. 2 is to expand the performance of our device by adding the blue cartridge, which means thicker tissue that we can staple. Another one is we have announced that we have a relationship with Intuitive Surgical to use our product in robotic surgery, and we have a 6-month evaluation phase, so we want to complete that phase successfully. And the other area of focus for us is to expand and grow our supply chain for our device.
So Julian, where can our audience go and find more information about the company?
So they can go on our website, cardica.com, and also there's some financial analysts that are following the company, and they can get that information as well from them.
So that's CARDICA.com. My name is Robert Kraft, and we're coming to you live on SNNLive, and we're here at the Source Capital Group 2016 Disruptive Growth and Healthcare Conference in New York City. With me again has been Julian Nikolchev from Cardica. The symbol is CRDC. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Robert.